Okay, welcome to the unit on AP Style Book for Grammar, and we're going to go through some of the common areas of grammar. And again, you're going to want to remember your strengths and weaknesses as a student, grammar mistakes that normally trip you up, and get familiar with how to look things up in the style book. So, we'll start with spelling, which precedes grammar. It's kind of obvious, but doesn't always work. So anybody that's ever uttered or visited the site Damn You Autocorrect knows that sometimes you can intentionally make spelling errors that drastically change what you mean to write. And while spell check is great and catches a lot of things, it doesn't catch everything. So you can always rely on it for examples like Czech Republic. Spell check's going to change it to check like you write a check from a checkbook instead of the correct way, so you have to be aware of that. That's why my recommendation is triple checking the spelling of proper nouns. Asking first, double checking, confirming the spelling, and then looking it up against a document or another way you can check it, and that would be a style book or a dictionary. Also beware of homonyms. It's not going to catch that. So two words that sound alike but have different spellings. Grammatically, it might underline it and catch it, but oftentimes it will not. It's best to remember that AP Style trumps spell check, other text dictionaries. So this is the style book we'll be using to grade the stories. It's one news organizations use. So for issues that come up and change things, the style book for 2015 will be the manual we use as kind of the grading guide. Other common areas is the difference in who and that and which. Who refers to people and named animals. Animals with a name in the story, they're treated like people, they get who. And then inanimate objects, unnamed animals get which or that. So you can see the examples here. President Obama is the one who passed healthcare reform. Chicago, inanimate object. City, that sometimes sleeps. Next, subject-verb agreement. You want to watch out for prepositions. You want to isolate and kind of get rid of the extraneous words and examine whether it's singular or plural, subject and verb, and make those match up every time. So one of the debts are outstanding is not correct. Debts is not your subject here. Of the debts is a preposition. When you get rid of it, as you can see here, you have essentially a three-word sentence that says one is or are outstanding, and then you can tell it's singular, and the correct answer is one is outstanding. Similar, the smell of freshly baked bread and cakes mingle or mingles with aromas of fish. If you get rid of all that long middle part of freshly baked bread and cakes, you get the smell, singular, mingles with the aromas of fish. Similar with subject pronoun agreement, this comes up a lot in sports. So if it's a city, we treat it in AP Style as a singular. So St. Louis won its previous game. It wouldn't be their because you're referring to the city or the single unit, a singular noun, the team. Whereas if it's the Rams, that's a collection, plural of players. The Rams are playing their best. It's also best to use the dictionary to assess whether the noun is singular or plural, so you're sure that you have that exactly right. Need to be consistent throughout the sentence, and that the pronoun refers to the noun and not just the possessive near it. So it would be wrong to say everybody did their best because everybody is singular. Everybody did his best or all did their best. So when you get in that situation, if it's everybody or everyone, you could use his or her, you could use his or her, whatever is accurate there, however you want to use it, as long as it's singular. Also, it would be wrong to say the quarterback's arm ached, he finished the game. Here's where a comma phrase at the beginning of the sentence and a passive construction of the sentence builds in trouble because you're really not using the he to refer to the arm, you're referring to the quarterback himself. So you would work it back around. So although his arm ached, the quarterback finished the game. So that way the his arm and the quarterback are correct. Last bit here to mention is misplaced modifiers, and this is where you get the order of things jumbled up. There's punctuation involved in your writing, meanings you don't really mean. Beside him stood the sailor with the wooden leg named Joe. That sentence is written, makes it seem like the wooden leg's name is Joe, and it should be instead beside him stood Joe the sailor with a wooden leg. Similar, on her way home she found a gold man's watch. You mean to write that it's a man's watch that is gold, but the way it's written here is it's a gold man, like the top picture there. And then also we saw a fence behind the house made of barbed wire. You're meaning that the fence is made of barbed wire, so you need to redo that because as it's written, the modifier is misplaced, and it sounds like the house is made of barbed wire. So just be on the lookout for these common grammatical issues, and we'll continue to practice them through the quiz, activities, into the stories, and be sure we get everything squared away. Finally here, correct word choice and usage. Just common incidents that come up. The speaker implies, the listener infers. If you give a speech, if you're saying something to someone, you're making an implication, you're implying. If you're the listener, then you can infer from what they're saying. Also, my advice is beware unusual plurals, moose, alumni, words that don't work in S at the end, and double check all those. And then other ones, affects, AFFECTS as a verb, but if you're using it as a noun, it's with an E. Just a grammatical trick. English, very difficult language to learn all the ins and outs of grammar, but we'll continue to try. And the big thing is to focus on the common ones that come up and get those squared away. And then finally, unusual words that have unusual plurals. Look all those up. Brussels sprouts, cognac, kielbasa.